Artificial intelligence is the hottest topic on the planet. Everybody knows that. Developments are announced daily now. So you'll be forgiven if you cannot remember all of them. But today's guest, Tiarne Hawkins, is a regular guest of mine. She's an AI expert who can help update us on the latest developments in the AI space. Tiarne, welcome back to
Hi,
Open Source. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me again. It's great to see you.
Oh my God, you've been on all my shows like so many times. You're by far, my favorite guest, most popular guest. Every time you come on, everyone's like, "Oh my God, Tian, Tian." People actually do ask about you, and you're so knowledgeable and very very successful. But let's talk AI. Because
Sure.
I mean, it's funny because I had you on my last show, Daily Drop, which is really about
Yeah.
crypto, but I knew AI was important. And since then, the last 2 years, AI has exploded. It seems to be everywhere these days.
Mhm.
What are the latest trends we should be watching?
You know what? I'm so happy that you asked that question. I love
Mhm.
starting with trends. I think when I think about trends, I like to break it down into different verticals. So I think about what are the trends in enterprise? What are the trends in government? How is the startup ecosystem being changed? And how are we, as the general consumers, interacting with AI in our daily lives? Well, let's just start with us as consumers. As you may or may not have seen, the app stores are bursting at the seams with different AI applications. You've got everything from synthetic voice creation, editing abilities, whether it's picture, video. We're starting to see new games popping up that are fully AI generated. So that space is fully exploding. Whether you're an Android or an iPhone user, it's irrelevant. Those app stores are bursting at the seams. When we think about enterprise, we're seeing enterprise adopting AI across all areas of business, whether it's HR, finance, security, you name it, it's blowing up at the moment. But some of the bigger trends are things like the rise of AI agents. You're going to see that in 2025. Obviously, we're going to see some of the generative tools coming out with more and more capabilities that are indistinguishable to the human eye, right? That's something that we can talk about a bit later on some of the risks there. Some of the other things you're going to see are these customized small language models that allows for more better performance, and they're going to be more specialized, whether it's finance, real estate, medical, you name it. So there's some of the high level trends. And lastly, I kind of wanted to touch on government. When we think about government at the moment, you might have seen this recent movement by Homeland Security. They came out with a new security framework, and they're experimenting a lot with some of these generative tools. So yeah, there's some of the recent trends.
You're such a fountain of knowledge as always. And look,
Yes.
if you're at home, like follow her across socials. I mean, she's a fountain of knowledge and always passing on lots and lots of valuable information. I wanted to ask about backlash, but it really feels like that's becoming a smaller conversation. Do you think that like people are just starting to get used to AI? Is that what's happening?
You know what? I think there's definitely concern, right? When we
Mhm.
think about things like job displacement, um, our private data, what happens with our data? I mean, you might download an app that edits one of your pictures, but do you really know what information you're giving that company and how that model was trained? Obviously, we have a lot of concerns around just ethics. Right? There's no governance, no guardrails that really prevents anybody from getting into the AI game and building an application. So I think there will be backlash. These are conversations that each and every single one of us need to be having. And I want to encourage everyone to start experimenting and start thinking about how this impacts your life.
Yeah, but I will say, before, like everybody was so anti AI, and now it doesn't really seem like if it's like how are you using AI, right? So,
Sure.
like, how do you think people should be embracing all of this technological change?
Well, first of all, you should be using it for content creation. If you're creating content, writing poetry, designing things, you should be using one of the, whether it's Chat GPT, Perplexity, Gemini, it doesn't matter which model, but you should be experimenting with that at least. Playing with these tools will actually help benefit yourself, your creative abilities. It can help you innovate. The other areas we're starting to see is just predictive text. Apple, as you may or may not know, is rolling out quite a few AI initiatives. So they're already baked into the Apple device. So if you use Apple, you're probably using AI on a daily basis. Other areas, I think things like productivity at work. Now, I want to caution people. if your security department haven't approved an app, please don't go and download and start using company
You know what,
information.
Tiarne? Let's get more
Yeah.
in depth in the future segments. There's so much to talk about. We've got Tiarne Hawkins here on open source.